Greetings, YouTube. Expletive, a curse. Profane or obscene expression, usually of surprise or anger. Example, expletives or deleted. I make a concerted effort not to swear. I can't say I never swear, but I make an effort not to swear. There are over 577,000 words in the English language, and frankly, I think there are better choices than swear words. But when I do swear, I tend to go big, and I in fact will drop the F-bomb. But when I do it, there's usually a really good reason, and people take notice, because under normal circumstances, I don't swear. This was a gradual process for me. This wasn't something I had arrived at overnight. Firstly, it involved a person I used to game with. He was a rather devout Christian, and at the time I swore, and I would frequently use the word Jesus or Jesus Christ as an expletive. He knew I wasn't Christian. At that time I was an atheist. So he asked, why did I use those words? That was a really good question. He asked if I could stop, and so I did. Though I did find it interesting that if I'd been a Christian, he would have been okay with me using them as swear words, which makes even less sense. But the point is, it wasn't part of the religious tradition I was a member of, and so, maybe I shouldn't be using someone else's deity or divine figures in vain. As time went by, I realized that it wasn't contributing anything to my discourse. It wasn't adding anything to my daily speech, and frankly, it made me sound just like everybody else. So I stopped. It was difficult at first. There's a lot of self-editing involved in that. But over time, it happened. And in fact, I can remember the first time it really had an impact was one of my coworkers looked at me and said, "You don't swear, do you?" And I smiled and I said, "No, I make an effort not to." And the funny thing is that I had sworn in her presence years before. But it had been so long that she didn't remember. Always made me smile. To this day, I make that effort. People don't worry about me being around their grandmothers or their children, because they know I'm not going to swear. There are times I have to, because I'm in severe and abysmal pain, and sometimes I do it because there is simply no word better suited to the situation than an expletive. Though I will stretch the definition of that. For example, I frequently use the word asshat as someone who isn't acting as an ass and is wearing the asshat. If I want to use a word that's kind of like a swear word, but it isn't, I'll use the word fark. And I take that directly from the site Fark, F-A-R-K, which is a blog where people publicly put up links. And there's a whole lot of noise to signal ratio. There's a lot of entertainment value and not a lot of content on Fark. But I love the site. I visit it every day. I have been known to borrow terms that were created by someone else. For example, I stole the term from an online webcomic artist known as Obsidian. He does the comic commissioned.com. And I borrowed the word crap it. Not crap it, but one word, crap it. Said very quickly, and usually because something bad has just happened. Occasionally I will say the word crap, because it works. And it's fairly harmless. I'm more likely to occasionally use a word like skata, which is Greek. Or, things like that. Because I used to swear, and when I did, I would use that word, and people didn't get it then, they don't get it now. But if I have time to think about it, I don't swear. There was an article I saw today that swearing is supposed to reduce pain. Now, I actually don't think swearing is reducing pain. I think it works the same way in martial arts when you use the kia, the loud, forceful word before you go into action. The word doesn't matter. It could be any word. It's the state of mind. It's the place you are at that moment that matters. And in the same way, when you swear because you're in pain, the word itself doesn't matter. The word crap works just as effectively for me when I hurt myself as the F-bomb does for someone else. Why? Because I'm putting the emotional force into that word. I'm feeding that word the energy that I want to feed it. Now, I have screamed at the top of my lungs, "Why the F did you do that?" when someone handed me a hot part and I wasn't wearing gloves at work one day. It didn't occur to me that they were wearing gloves. Everybody wears gloves. It didn't occur to me that someone would be dumb enough to hand me a part that was hot when they could see I wasn't wearing gloves. But they did. And at the time I was an inspector, and these were the men I made my living with. If they were burned, I couldn't do my job. So getting my fingers burned was really important. So I swore at the top of my lungs. I later apologized to him. We made up. Everything was fine. I made sure that in the future he let parts cool before he brought them to me. But I am still fascinated by swear words. I own 2 dictionaries of slang, and a lot of the words in the slang dictionaries are swear words. The F-bomb, in fact, in one of the books, I think it covers 2 entire pages of different ways of using that word in sentences. It's a very versatile word, that is. It's a very old word. I believe it goes back at least to the Romans, if not earlier. And it's one of those words that maybe we'll may never completely know the full etymology of. But I'm still fascinated by them. I still find them interesting. I don't mind the fact that my wife swears. It bugs her sometimes because she's like, I swear like a sailor, and well, she does swear. She doesn't really swear like a sailor. And I know that she sometimes tries to cut back on it, particularly around children or her grandmother. Wherein she knows I will not swear around children or her grandmother. But the words are fascinating. Why we use them, how we use them, will never cease to keep me busy and interested.